Okay. Oh, and Troy just walked in. Give me just a second here. It's spooling up here.
You've gotten really good at that, Rob.
Yeah. Again, faking it. Okay. Oh, and Troy just walked in.
Hey, Troy.
Yeah, avoid getting too good at it, or else you'll be wrangled into it all the time.
All right, Matt, whenever you're ready. And we should be good. Chairman, whenever you want to kick it off.
All right, we'll call to order the Plan Commission meeting for Wednesday, March 10th. It is 7:34. Rob, can we do a roll call, please?
Certainly. Commissioner Krillenberger?
Here?
Commissioner Hurley?
Here.
Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Commissioner Jablonski?
Here.
Commissioner Cernovich?
Here.
Commissioner Willoughby?
Here.
Commissioner Unell?
Here.
Commissioner Fiasconi?
Here.
And Chairman Cashman?
Here. Okay, I'd like to read this since we're having a virtual meeting. Due to the ongoing public health emergency and consistent with the governor's most recent emergency declaration, various executive orders entered by the governor and the recent amendments made to the Open Meetings Act in Public Act 101-640, the village president has determined that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent at this time, and this meeting will therefore be conducted electronically. Public comment is permitted during the public hearing during that portion of the meeting. I'll ask people wishing to make a public comment to identify themselves before speaking, spelling their last name and stating their address. And with that, we move on to public comment. Is there anyone on the phone or on this Zoom meeting that would like to comment on something that's not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on. The next order of business is approval of minutes from our February 10th, 2021 meeting. Do the commissioners have any comments or suggested revisions to the minutes from our February 10th meeting?
None.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved. Jablonski.
Second, Cernovich.
Bethany, can we have, or maybe, who's doing the roll calls tonight?
I'll do them. I'll take care of it tonight.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Krillenberger?
Aye.
Commissioner Hurley?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Commissioner Jablonski?
Aye.
Commissioner Cernovich?
Aye.
Commissioner Willoughby?
Abstain.
Commissioner Unell?
Aye.
Commissioner Fiasconi?
Aye.
Chairman Cashman?
Aye. Okay, our next order of business is an exterior appearance and site plan review. This is case A-02-2021 for 5500 South Grant Street, Hinsdale Township High School, District 86, appearance and site plan review for various building and site improvements as part of Phase 2 referendum upgrades to Hinsdale Central High School. And I'm going to recuse myself from this agenda item because I'm part of a special committee for District 86 related to this project. And Julie is kind enough to grab the reins tonight and to handle this portion of the meeting. So thank you, Julie.
I'll try. You're welcome. Is the applicant ready to give a presentation?
Yes, hi. This is Nick Grail with Archon and Associates. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for
Great.
putting together such a thorough application. It was very well done.
Thank you for that compliment, and the board is welcome. You know, we want to make sure that we give you guys comprehensive information, so appreciate that.
Well, you did a good job. I didn't have any questions, or which is unusual.
Always good to hear. Rob, can I share my screen?
You certainly can. Give me just 1 second here.
Sure. While Rob is giving me access here, I'll also introduce, we do have Jason Oskrup with the district. He's the Director of Facilities. We also have with us with Cotter, who's the owner's rep for the district, Dorothy McCarty, and Jack Stump is on the line as well to help me answer any questions as they may arise. Let me get my screen up here, and we'll go through. I do have a short kind of walk through and talk, and happy to answer any questions as they may arise. So,
And I was wondering, do you think it would be possible to do like what you did at the ZBA meeting and break it down per like each request on the application?
Yep. What I'll do is I'll give a quick overview of everything, and then drill down on each portion. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about like the grandstands and the additions and whatnot. So
Thank you. That
I'm
would be
trying to
great.
follow that same format.
Thank you.
For sure. So this is, again, phase 2 of the referendum projects. We have, last year went through this same process with phase 1 successfully. So this is the second piece of that, and will be the final piece for the referendum projects that we come to the village on. We have, for this phase, for phase 2, already have gone through the 3 meetings with the Zoning Board of Appeals. Although I think it was in the packet of information a little more detailed, but several items were approved by the board, and several items are recommended to the Board of Trustees for their final jurisdiction. And we're planning to go to the Board of Trustees, I believe, next month. Just to recap on zoning, we did go for 6 areas of relief with different variance requests to each. I won't go in detail, but those 6 areas of relief that we went to the ZBA for were in regards to the grandstand and press box structures, the perimeter fence behind the grandstands that we need to remove and replace to get to the grandstands to do that work. We do have a new ticket booth accessory structure for the football field. At the varsity baseball field, we're proposing safety netting, very similar to what we had in phase 1 at the JV field. There was some fence replacements at the JV softball, JV baseball, and varsity baseball fields. And then at our east parking lot off of Grant Street, the new lot that we put in last summer, we did have a request for the parking lot light fixtures, 2 additional fixtures in that lot with the ZBA. For phase 2, really our goal is, just like in phase 1, we're trying to match the existing conditions of the building, aesthetically, architecturally, as much as possible with upgrading to today's standards. And also with phase 2, all of our work and additions harken back to phase 1, and we're trying to match what we did at phase 1 for a complete campus feel. I'll move from left to right because that's how our application was really assembled. So site plan here of the high school campus. First, we have the home side grandstands and press box are proposed to be replaced relatively 1-for-1. We're proposing a new ticket booth accessory structure, kind of in between the practice field, tennis courts, and football field. The areas highlighted in blue are either parking lot or street roadway renovation work, okay, or replacements. And then within the courtyards proper here, restoration work, because we're tearing up the site pretty good in order to get into the interior courtyard here for the student services addition. With athletic fields, before I get into the building proper, we do have work proposed at the varsity baseball field here. It's a backstop replacement, again, with a masonry knee wall, safety netting. Again, that's an improvement over the chain link backstop that's already there. Very similar to what we put in for phase one. And there's some ancillary chain link replacements there as well. East of Grants, we have some fence installations in the outfield for the JV baseball field to protect from a new proposed drainage swale. And then at the junior varsity softball field, backstop and chain link replacement. It's about time that, you know, that chain link fence and backstop be replaced. Major building additions. So just a recap for phase one. Last year we went to the village with the proposed buildings and grounds link. We needed to move the loading dock area and buildings and grounds office out of their current location and make way for the new fine arts addition and plaza. So this would be the new music practice rooms, band room, some other ancillary classroom spaces. Under construction currently, the natatorium building. We're knee deep in construction there. We should be coming up on completion about June of this year. So a few more months of construction. Construction is moving along at a feverish pace. That was all phase one. So here in phase two, inside this courtyard, because we're frankly running out of room to put any more additions in this campus. So we're building in the courtyard a new student services addition that also serves the function for the special education program. So there's some special education classroom renovations inside the building, and then second floor special education office and classrooms to that. Getting down into more detail, granular level. Grandstands and press box. Some of the highlights here. I might jump around a little bit, but we're replacing the structure. It's time to replace it. We're not expanding it, okay? The existing seating capacity is 2,402 with no accessible seating. New seating is 2,409 with accessible seating. So a slight increase, not by much, but much more accessible layout and better sight lines as well. There's also a slight increase in the press box size. What's out there currently really doesn't meet, you know, today's varsity soccer, baseball field lacrosse standards. Some other highlights to mention. The proposed press box is actually shorter. The overall structural height is proposed to be 20 feet 9 inches to the top of the roof. There is an observation deck on here, just as there is currently now. But the existing press box is higher than that. It's 23 feet 6 inches. So with some improved angles of repose here and sight lines, we're able to reduce the height of that structure. So although it's an incremental improvement, it does slightly improve sight lines from residences across the street. Grandstand press box and you know, the colors that we're going with. Again, we're looking to match the existing what's there. The grandstand press box manufacturer don't really provide colorized renderings or details, but I do have some examples to show. The press box will be white in color with red trim. The general structure of the bleachers will be anodized aluminum, just as it is today, with some highlights. So the riser boards, what I have highlighted here in red. So at the track level here, the front riser board. And if you think kind of when you're sitting on the bench in the bleachers, what's behind your knees, kind of behind the calves, these riser boards here, kind of highlighted in red, would be red for school colors. Any chain link fence that we have here, existing is anodized aluminum now. We are proposing black vinyl, which is an upgrade to match what we've been doing elsewhere on the site for site athletics. Cleans it up. Looks a little sharper than just the anodized aluminum, so a bit of an upgrade there. I can show you some examples. So up on the screen is aerial view of, actually this is an older image because last summer we did replace the field turf. So this is a little outdated, but see the grandstand and press box here. Press box is white with red accents, some lettering there, and some, I think the doors are red as well. And then if I go to the back side, it's about more the same. White
No, I don't
and
think
red.
we can see what you're trying to display now.
Do you not see?
Still see the cars.
There you go.
Oh, there, okay.
Now? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for the heads up.
You're good.
So this is a view of the, you know, a little bit of older aerial, but the existing press box bleachers, white press box with red accents, anodized aluminum structure, kind of turning around to the backside off Madison. Do you see a picture of a Southern Bleacher Company up on screen?
It's bleachers with the red.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So this is an example of what we're going for. Obviously, it's a much bigger bleacher. We're not doing anything with the lights on the field or anything like that. But this is an example with red riser boards in the bleachers and press box with white and red trim. So we'd be very close to this example here. Again, we have some upgrades with black vinyl instead of anodized aluminum chain link. But this is a good example of that upgrade. Okay, we should be back to
Are you
the
planning on
section drawing.
any of the stadium lighting?
The stadium lighting is all existing to remain. We're not touching the stadium lighting.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving a little further into the site, we do have a very simple ticket booth structure. This structure, if anybody's familiar with the campus, there's what they call the huddle house on the south end of the football field. This structure is meant to really play off that and match. So, you know, that huddle house has red brick with kind of a darker maroon red shingle. Again, going with school colors, red, white, red door, and the overhead would be white as well. So again, we're trying to match structures on campus where it makes sense. So here, this is the site athletic building next to the football field.
Similar question to the lighting. Are you moving fencing around?
Fencing is all what we have proposed, and what we went with the zoning is really one-for-one replacement. So there's no new fence locations. It's it's a one-for-one replacement where we're either, for instance, behind the press box here, this existing fence needs to come down so we can get to and take down and put up the press box and the grandstand so we don't destroy the new field and track that we put on last summer.
Yes.
Any other fencing related to the baseball and softball fields is all one-for-one. So we're not moving fencing. We're not putting up new fencing on the west here. The only new fencing location is in the outfield to the JV softball.
Great. That'll be welcome.
And yep. Last year, and it's up currently, we put in new privacy fence for the residences on the east property line. So that work's already been completed. Fence looks nice too. Moving on to the JV backstop. Again, safety netting. This is exactly what we put into the JV field last summer. We are putting in a new masonry knee wall. Really, you can see this detailing on campus at the North Varsity softball field by the admin building, kind of off of 55th Street. Again, red brick to match. There's dugout structures here to the south. Those dugouts are all existing to remain. We're just matching what's on campus. Okay, so now moving on to major additions. First one here is the student services addition. We're cleaning up and repairing the courtyard because we're tearing into it pretty good for the construction of this addition. The addition's clad in brick, and the brick matches exactly what we did in phase one and proposed in phase one. We're going for, again, kind of consistent feel for all the referendum projects. We do have aluminum windows and curtain wall, some metal panel, white metal panel banding accents. Again, you can see that on the phase one additions, matching that. We do also call out for some sun louvers here on the south end to shade the inside spaces with that southern exposure. The other thing it does, it covers up the old library addition that the brick didn't match anything. So we're kind of bringing it back to, again, a consistent campus feel. Next major addition is with the fine arts for the music program. Again, we're taking over the old buildings and grounds loading dock and parking lot, vacating them out, and putting in pretty significant entry plaza here, elevated plaza, because we have to get up to building height. So the finished floor for the building in this area is higher than street level. So we tiered that back with this plaza. It's really meant as, will be one of the main entry points for students and staff in the mornings and exit points in the afternoon. In its relation to the parking lots east and south of this area. Meant for, gathering space, impromptu, if the music program wants to come out and, have like an outdoor concert or anything like that, there's area and provisions to do that. So this is a very flexible space that the school is very excited to use. Kind of an added outdoor space that they don't currently have. So we tier back, and again, the brick color is to match phase one. We have aluminum curtain wall, storefronts, and these canopy structures are all clad in that metal panel banding, again, to match what we've done for phase one.
Where are you moving the mechanical delivery and all the things that used to be there?
Sure. So that was part of phase one. So this is where that fine arts edition is. This link here was what we put in, and we renovated space in this chiller building. It was a chiller building, and then had the district had some future thought that they needed space for either mechanicals or offices down the line. This was a fairly recent addition. So we took the loading dock provisions and modified what was there. So all the functionality of loading dock, trash enclosures, fully screened, and all that good stuff, and buildings and grounds offices were taken out of the middle of the campus and moved more appropriately to the south lot. So we kind of grouped everything. We got this maintenance garage here off of 57th Street, and then buildings and grounds, kind of isolated and away from the rest of the building. And then we put in a new emergency vehicle access road to get up and around and through the west end of campus, because we cut that off with that link. So
Right.
Kind of groups everything a little better once everything's done. And that's really the bulk of it. We do have photometrics included for, we have some pathway lighting and light poles in the new plaza, going for a bit more modern, updated look. Again, we're not seeking any variances here. We're looking to stay within village code. The only variances we were going for lighting were in the new parking lot here off of Grant Street. And that was an accessory height variance to match the poles that are currently there. I think that's a pretty good overview. Is there any specific questions or areas you'd like me to delve a little deeper on?
I'm wondering if we could start with each improvement. Like, we have a list of 9 here. So if we could go down that list that's on the application.
Sure.
So the first one would be the Fine Arts Edition, entry plaza and site lighting.
I'm just looking for that list so I can, is that list off of my application, or is that
No,
list
I'm sorry,
off
this
of,
is off our memo.
well, why don't I, if you can prompt me on the area off the memo, and then I can jump to there. So it sounded like the first one was fine arts.
Yes, the Fine Arts Edition, entry plaza and site lighting.
Okay, so kind of going back to here, this is
Yes.
the entry plaza. We have landscaped islands here. It's a concrete elevated plaza. I think we went over the aesthetics of the building and the lighting.
And that is so, it's much needed at Hinsdale Central. The whole addition is, I think it looks great. Did anybody have any questions about that part of the application?
No, my biggest concern was making sure that it all flows, and brick color. It sounds like that's been very closely monitored so that the additions, each of them, are going to be compatible with the existing high school.
One question I have.
Go ahead.
The one question I had is about the photometrics, both on the parking lot and the Fine Arts Edition.
Mhm.
The parking lot edition specifically highlights that there's not going to, this makes no representation that it's code compliant. Code compliance will be reviewed by others. And I can't find anywhere in our paperwork that the lumens per meter or foot candle calculations are compliant within our code. And this question is more the village staff. Am I missing that in here?
No, thank you, Jerry. It's Rob. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm unmuted. So I looked at that same area. Obviously, our concern was the east side of the parking lot there, where they're installing 2 more fixtures that that exceed the allowable height to match those existing lights. And we did take a look at those numbers. If you look at the lumen survey there, you've got 0.5 that's highlighted in red there. That's we can't exceed 0.5 at a residential lot line. So they're at or below the maximum permissible lumen level at the lot line. And we'll actually go out there once these are installed to make sure with a light meter at night to make sure that they're not exceeding that. And if so, we'll have them put shields on the fixtures accordingly just to get that number down at the lot line.
Will the lights have shields?
They do have the easiest way to describe it, like the dark sky cutoff. They do have shields to that effect.
And the lights that'll be relamped, will those have shields?
Yes. And I think, Jason, if you're on the line, at a certain time, don't these lights dim down?
Yes,
At night?
so the way the property is set up, when these turn on, they have security and normal lighting. So at night, at about 11:30, I believe the exact time is, the normal lighting will shut off, which would be half the fixtures, and the other half would stay on for security lighting.
11:30 seems so late. Is there a reason for that, or?
Well, we do that because sometimes athletic events and other stuff do run by, and then we also want, for the safety of our employees that work till 11:30, for the custodians cleaning the building, that we have lighting for them when they go, because sometimes they do park in that lot.
Okay.
Jason, it's Jerry. Is that the current plan? And we're not making a new modification?
Correct. That's the current plan. That's been like that for, I'm not sure the amount of time, but it's been like that before I got here.
Great.
There's no plans to change that. Trying to keep status quo.
And I'm correct in that none of the neighbors came forward or had any questions or concerns?
We've
Not that staff has received. Nick?
Yeah, we haven't had any negative community feedback or concerns raised at the district's meetings, nor at the village public hearings and meetings.
And I realize we have a different scope and focus, but the D86 board has approved all of these plans, right?
That's correct. And as Steve Cashman mentioned, there's a special facilities committee that was formulated specifically for the referendum work here. So we work closely with the every top to bottom, bottom to top, from the end users, teachers, all the way through district administration, board, and community input at that level as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you hear this from everybody, but the high school is sort of Hinsdale's, I consider it to be front door. So important that this all gets done in a way that reflects well on our community. So I appreciate you doing all the stuff that you've been doing.
Thank you. Yep, this is this referendum was a big deal for the community, and this project in particular is a gem. So we've tried to treat it as such, that level of respect.
If you can save some money, that'd be great too. Yes.
We are constantly eyeing the budget and always looking for ways to get it on or below target. So we had the last bid period that we went out to bid for, which is a lot of the work that we're presenting tonight, came in very favorably. So,
oh, good.
Everybody's hungry because of the pandemic. So we definitely there's some silver linings to it.
Do we know when this might be finished?
So it's phased. The exterior work, a lot of the additions are, 12 plus month projects, kind of in the 18 month realm. So the fine arts addition, I believe, is scheduled to be largely complete this fall, maybe a little bit after. The student services addition, because of the complexity of building a building in the middle of a building like that, that's more of an 18-month project. So we'll break ground this spring, and then that will carry through to next summer, so like the summer of 22. And as for the referendum projects, there's still another phase after this, but it's all interior renovations. So that will also be for summer of 22.
And I don't know whether I'm exceeding the purview of what we need to review here, but the ticket booth building, is that replacing an existing building?
That is a new structure. They don't currently have any ticket booth on site. I think they were just setting up folding tables just outside the track and on the sidewalk here.
Okay.
So that is a new structure. And, we did take a look at zoning provisions here, for FAR and all that good stuff. And, our calculations all meet village code.
Okay, and it is where it is so that it can serve tennis courts and football and soccer and everything, right?
Right. Last phase, there was gates installed, kind of where my cursor's at, right over this phase 2 note box. So that would be the entry point for the track and field. And yes, it's more centrally located to pick up the other fields and courts on site.
Okay. And Julie, you wanted to go one by one.
Well, I think that's where we're kind of out, but we're
Okay.
covering it all.
Good. I agree.
Steve doesn't do much better at controlling us either, Julie. Don't feel badly.
No, it's much harder on Zoom. I don't know how you do it, Steve.
Well, I missed the physical parts and pieces. What are those called? Samples. But so we're kind of taking your word for it that all of these bricks and colors are going to be harmonious with the existing building, because you said they're identical, right?
Yeah, if actually you can drive by the school, and the brick is going up currently at the pool addition, and the brick and metal panel work is completed at the buildings and grounds. So feel free to, you can see it live and in person. We really tried to complement, everything that's going on. The existing campus, I think we covered this a lot during phase 1 approvals plan commission last year. There is a ton of different brick through the various additions through the last, 70 years for this building, and trying to come up with a good match for everything was a challenge. And then we had the additional challenge of during COVID, plant shutdowns and whatnot. So what we have out there is, a good match trying to bring the campus together while fighting 15 different iterations throughout the years. So, but yeah, that's the buildings and ground is up, and then brick is going up. I think metal panel work starts soon at the pool addition as well.
I drive by there almost every day, and it's interesting seeing the cranes out there.
Yeah, we've had some pretty big cranes. I think actually a couple of days ago they put the one of the big mechanical units for the pool. I just got a video from the contractor. Yet to look at it. But lots of crane work, and I think there was extra cranes on site last week because maybe it was the village or somebody was doing some work on the water tower. So it's been a heavy construction traffic for sure, getting deep into the site. Where haven't we covered on that list? Any questions maybe in the courtyard edition here for student services?
I think that looks great. It's another big improvement. Could you talk a little bit about the netting on the fields?
Sure. Let's go back here. So, yeah, I think a good example is to look at what we did last summer in the JV fields if you drive by. Part of the application for the zoning, the ZBA and the Plan Commission was putting pretty much identical. We didn't have a masonry knee wall at the JV field, but safety netting behind this backstop here. Going for the same look, if you look at the varsity softball field more towards 55th Street, again, it's got the same type of look of what we're doing for the baseball fields, what's proposed. Let me pull up that drawing. The posts here, so they do go up higher for safety reasons. For about a 40-foot post, these posts are black. The netting is a black mesh, but if you stand a little bit away, that mesh starts to visually go away. Right now, currently, we have a chain link backstop and fence for the baseball field. It doesn't look as dressed up or I would say collegiate than what we're proposing here. It's really, a lot of fields are going this way to provide the safety netting versus that, hooded backstop look. The brick here meant to match the dugouts, which are flanked on each side, and then a cast stone cap. It's really the same detailing as the existing varsity softball field.
It looks like there's some pulleys on the posts. Is the netting retractable like a major league stadium?
There is some retractability. Whether or not that netting gets taken down seasonally or gets left up, it's really for maintenance. It's not meant to be taken down and put back up on a weekly basis for games. So that netting would be only removable seasonally if the district kind of chooses.
Well, that covers a big safety issue too.
Right, and I don't think the district wants to be taking this up and putting it back for each game. With 40 feet of netting, it's going to be quite a task to take that up and down.
A lot of those pulleys on that are for retracting for tension to make, if any of the netting gets loose in the wind, we can retract it and make it tighter for safety.
Thank you.
Any questions on the grandstand press box?
I was pleased to see that you, that the ADA seating is being added, and also that the grandstands are staying pretty much the same size.
Yeah, we were very cognizant and trying to be good neighbors. It was really
It showed.
important to the district.
It showed.
So we actually went through quite a bit of iterations, probably to Southern Bleacher, who's the vendor providing this chagrin, to get this right. And we didn't want to bring something to the village that wouldn't have a chance for approval. So we really tried to do a one-for-one replacement with, making improvements where we could.
And you're eliminating the visitor stand, so it's only home team cheering?
I wish. Those stands, although in phase one we did do some pavement and fencing work over there, those stands are existing, so they don't get as nice a seating. But there's some areas where there's accessible seating already there. So,
Okay, so they already have an ADA on the other side too.
Right. And really with, putting up those red riser boards, you kind of get that more school feel. So you get to show your school colors and pride, to the visitor side.
Great.
It's always fun being over there or driving by during a football game.
Very lively.
Yes.
Did we cover the 6 points? Feels like we did, but
did.
And I know Steve is standing to the side, but is he able to comment based on the work that his commission has done? Is there anything that they had any particular, I don't know, crossroads that they chose one way or another that is worth discussing? I don't even know if that's a proper question, but.
I don't know that either, but I'd say the committee was very supportive.
That's useful, I think. And the committee is made up of architects like yourself and people from the community?
Yeah, it's quite a broad group, but a lot of people in architecture, engineering, construction, just regular citizens. It's quite a big group.
Great.
Well, and I think the application, I think you thoroughly covered all the criteria that has to be met for site plan and exterior appearance. Does anybody else have any more questions? And Rob, is anybody on the line, any neighbors, anybody from the public wishing to comment?
No, we don't have anyone else on the line here, but if I may, Nick, there was a question that didn't come up, but would you mind discussing a little bit some of the stormwater improvements that the district's undertaken in conjunction with phase 1 and 2? I know Commissioner Willoughby's an engineer and may have some interest in that.
Sure. For this phase of the work, the only item that we're putting in new is a flat bottom drainage basin.
And that's driving the fence, right?
And that's driving the fence because it does encroach on the field. So it's to protect the players in the field of play. And that was really due to, review comments with engineering and working closely with the engineering department about what was provided originally for the original lot east of Grant, and then with our new lot going in. So it did trigger some requirements for additional drainage. Above and beyond that, phase one, a big part of that work was working with Flag Creek Water Reclamation District to correct things on site and get that all within code. And a big portion, so in phase one, we fully replaced the soccer field here off of Madison Street. And if there's any interest, I got some really good photos. We had to find a place to put underground stormwater detention, and we ended up taking out the existing soccer field because it really needed some work and had some drainage issues itself. Put massive drainage structures. I don't have the acreage, but it's really the full amount of this soccer field, underground stormwater detention, and then put dirt on top of that to build up grade, and then put the soccer field back on top of that. So, obviously we're, packed to the nines, using every square inch of the site. So stormwater detention was a big challenge, and that's how we solved it. We put it all underneath the soccer field. But, we work closely with Village Engineering, Flag Creek, to not only correct existing issues on the site, bring it up to current code, but with the new additions, taking care of all of our stormwater detention requirements.
All right. No, I appreciate that, Nick, and thanks, Rob, for bringing that up. I did look closely at that. I did also notice you have the unilock permeable pavers in the courtyard, which I appreciated. Maintaining the bioswales on the north side, and then obviously the wetland basin. One comment I would have just in general, not necessarily from a plan commission perspective, but that's a great education opportunity for how to manage stormwater through the bioswales, permeable pavers. Might be an opportunity for the district to consider educational signage if that isn't there already in some of those features.
Sure, excellent point. And there is some signage already in regards to that. Maybe not for some of the new stuff yet, but I know towards the front, the main entrance off of 55th Street, some educational signage and opportunities with the natural plantings up there. And there's some additional natural plantings around the bus drop-off loop and whatnot. So I think that's a good suggestion.
Any further questions, comments? I think we've covered pretty much everything, at least everything on my list. But again, thank you for such a thorough application. I think the application pretty much covered everything.
Excellent. Thank you.
So are we ready for a motion? Steve, would you like to do that, or should I go ahead and do that, or?
You can do that, Julie.
Okay. Find what? If I could please have a motion to approve case A-02-2021 for 5500 South Grant Street, Hinsdale Central High School, Hinsdale Township High School District 86, exterior appearance and site plan review for various development requests as part of phase 2 referendum improvements.
So moved, Willoughby.
Second, you know?
We have a roll call, please.
Certainly. Commissioner Krillenberger,
Aye.
Commissioner Hurley,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Jablonski,
Aye.
Commissioner Cernovich,
Aye.
Commissioner Willoughby,
Aye.
Commissioner Unell,
Aye.
and Commissioner Fiasconi.
Aye. Did you hear me?
We got you. Thank you.
You.
Okay. Well done, Julie. Thank you. Thanks, Nick, and the rest of the group, Dorothy, and the rest of the group. Appreciate it, Jason. Our next order of business is to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, we'll see you next month and see what that has in store. Thanks again, Julie, for doing that tonight. I appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. It was different on Zoom.
And Bethany, welcome, and we look forward to spending our months with you.
Yes.
I as well. Nice to meet you all via Zoom.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Night,
Thanks, everybody.
Aye.
Good night.
Bye.